Okay, so I was going to talk about how, financial stuff when you are low income, no income sort of thing, and how, folks just in the US, they quite frankly want you to live in destitution and misery, not be able to enjoy life at all, basically. And I just don't think that's the best way to do things. Life goes on, doesn't wait for you. Even if you make mistakes or you have regrets, you can't just not do certain things because of your financial situation. So, for instance, like some folks will say, oh, well, you shouldn't buy beauty stuff. You shouldn't be, if somebody who's low income or has no money kind of looks after themselves, how they look. There's all these comments of, oh, well, how come you're wearing this and using beauty stuff and all that? And it's like, well, I don't know if I loaded it on here, but I'm able to do a full face, all the materials costing less than $20, all the materials lasting several months, if not longer. So it's not as costly as you would think. And if that's what makes you feel confident or, just at more ease around others, then, for me, that's a kind of a worthwhile investment. The other thing, which I kind of agree, is that some folks say that you shouldn't have animals if you are low income. And I think there definitely should be a limit, like maybe an animal, maybe, an additional as well, but that would be like max, absolutely it. I do see that sometimes I've seen many examples of folks who cannot afford many animals, yet they have them anyway. So that I don't think is very smart, but they are wonderful creatures. So overall, I think it is worth it, and there's many benefits. Way less risky in all ways than dealing with humans. So I don't know, but I may not be able to afford, I don't even have an animal technically, but I used to give neighbors' animals, they're outdoor, I guess, and I used to give them some treats here and there. So I don't know if long term I'll be able to afford stuff like that, or their food, which I give very little, if I do. Even some other non-food kind of stuff, like toys, a bit of furniture, whatever. So I don't know. There are some like tweaks. I thought I could afford all this stuff maybe if I did make the income that I was making before. And then I realized no, you'd have to cut some stuff out. So another thing that I might cut out is like some stuff for this channel that I thought of buying. So essentially hobbies, and yeah. I don't know, I think there is a balance. I think you do have to cut stuff out when you do have a big goal, like trying to afford housing in this crazy market. But I think at the same time, you need a few things to remind you to continue, like give you just a little bit of motivation, a little bit of hope, I don't know, I think most folks, if they're going to work hard, very hard for a sustainable amount of time, it's like they need some reminders that there's still a little bit of good and they still have access to life. You know, it's tough when you lose everything because you feel like you're not like everyone else, you know, when you feel like, oh, all these folks, everyone around you has money, vehicles, you know, relationships, etc. And here you are, you have basically nothing. And yeah, it's very tough. I don't know. What do you guys think? I was just trying to encourage folks to try, even though you can hear it in my voice, but try to not be discouraged. It's very easy. And remember that there's still things you can do to alleviate the emotional burden. And those are things like maybe getting few beauty stuff or few items from Dollar Tree, Dollar General, like, you know, affordable locations. There's book sales, you know, garage sales. If you need, in order to do all that, if you need, let's say, a reduction in food costs, there's food banks, although I know they're not everywhere. And, you know, the quality varies and the quantity. And